Hey everybody, welcome back to another video for a late review, and this one is for Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. If you are new here, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get into the video. This is a series that's very nostalgic to me. I did get the first Advance Wars back on Game Boy Advance in the day. I never got around to getting Advance Wars 2 on Game Boy Advance. I did buy it when it came out on Wii U. I did not beat it. But then I also got Advance Wars Dual Strike on DS as well as Days of Ruin. And haven't beat either Battalion Wars. I do own both of them though, so I'll beat those eventually. But yeah, this is a very familiar game for me just because I've played them. And it did take me just over 40 hours to beat both campaigns. I did not do all of the missions, and I know at least for the second one I did give myself one mission where I have to go back to unlock... actually, I have to go back to mission 18, I believe, to unlock mission 20. So at least on the second one I know that there is at least one other mission to complete, and I believe there are a few for me to complete in Advance Wars 1. And I appreciate Advance Wars for not having too heavy of a story, where they overemphasize things and you just get really dragged down by the story. Sometimes I do that with video games where, you know, the story gets too bloated and I'm just not interested in it. With Advance Wars, it is kept very brief, and I appreciate that, and that kept me engaged in the story. As far as the gameplay goes, to me it felt exactly like the Game Boy Advance version. It just looks a lot better. I do hope that, you know, Advance Wars Dual Strike comes out, or we have another game in the Advance Wars series. But just knowing that this game didn't sell well, I'm not sure that we will get one anytime soon. With this game, the music felt the exact same to me. I'm sure that they did a new version of it and everything, but it felt the exact same. It sounded the same to me. Just the simplicity of the music, the game, and the story altogether makes for a really easy, laid-back pick-up-and-play game. I did like in the first Advance Wars that there was a smooth difficulty curve, and it never really got too difficult. I did lose, I want to say, at least twice in both campaigns. To me, I don't appreciate Fog of War. I understand the reasoning behind it, but I felt like the first Advance Wars relied heavily on Fog of War as a difficulty, while the second one did not do so as much. So I think if I'm comparing both campaigns, I believe I prefer the second campaign to the first. But also, in the last mission of the second campaign of Advance Wars 2, I did not appreciate the death ray, and then also having those cannons, and also having the day limit. I did beat it with, I want to say, at least 8 days left, but to me that just felt like it was too much on the enemy side, where it didn't feel as even, which I understand because, you know, there's some big, powerful black hole army, and that's what they were trying to get across, but to me it felt like having all of those felt almost cheap in some aspects, where they could have balanced it a little more and made their units stronger, making it feel like it was a more difficult fight instead of just going around those cannons and the death ray, because that's what I ended up doing. Is I took the right side army and going up and around the corner, breaking the pipes, which I did go. I went with the army on the right side. I went up and I broke the pipes and essentially broke the death ray that way, while I had the army in the center and on the left side pretty much attack the black hole army that was going straight down the middle, even though you'd get hit by the death ray. I forget exactly, but it felt like every 5 days or so. I don't remember exactly, but that was a complete disadvantage, where it was just like, okay, you're marching along and then that death ray comes and then you get your units wiped. To me, I didn't appreciate that, where it didn't feel like there was more resistance from the black hole army. where they were actually overpowering me compared to just some death ray that wiped out almost all my army. I believe that what it does is it knocks your units down to just 2. So they do get wiped out pretty well, and that death ray does not hit any black hole army units that are in the path. This game to me feels like it's not too heavy on the Switch, because it's really kind of... This game, in my mind, doesn't seem like it would be a very heavy game to run on the Switch, as it really feels almost like a chess or a checkers, a game board, where you take your turns with your units, and then you end your turn, so then the enemy uses all their turns with their units, and then it goes back and forth. But with this is one game, and I have the Switch OLED, where it actually crashed my Switch. I didn't play it for a long time. I want to say I played for maybe 4 hours at a time as my longest run, and my Switch would crash, and I felt my Switch and it was hot, which I have played, Pokemon, I've played Tears of the Kingdom, I played Pikmin 4, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and those games never crashed the console. I believe maybe Scarlet and Violet did, but they had a patch that made that so it wouldn't happen again. But with Advance Wars 1 and 2, Reboot Camp, my Switch crashed. I'm sorry, the software could not be read, or I forget exactly what it said, but my Switch ended up crashing at least 3 times while playing this game. So to me, that doesn't make sense, but I hope that if we get another game in the future that problem does not continue to happen. There is one thing that really made me hesitate when I was considering buying this game, is because back on Wii U, I bought Advance Wars 2 for $8, and I believe that the first one was available as well, so you could buy both of them for $16, while the Switch version, and I know that it's remade and it looks better, $60. So to me, that's kind of a big gripe in this, the price point. So $16 versus $60. To me, if you're on the fence about it, it's really hard to justify. If you can find it on sale, I really would say to buy this. But if you're not sure, really don't buy this game at full price. Even though I did put 40 hours into it, to me, it really is just a weird thing in my mind to justify a $60 game where you could buy them for much cheaper on a previous console, even though you can't buy it on Wii U now because they discontinued the eShop. I had a lot of fun with Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp for a Nintendo Switch, but to me, it's that price point of $60 that really threw me off, and also knowing that the game crashed on me a few times, at least a few times I should say. So if you are on the fence about getting this game, I would really say look into getting it used. I've seen people online, GameStop, Amazon, eBay, where it's around the $40 mark. Some are even less than that. So I would really say, if you are considering this game, get it used, because that's $60 for 2 games that are over 20 years old. With, the games, they do look a lot better, but at the same time, there's not a huge enhancement to the games. There's not any real additional content that would gravitate towards, purchasing it again at full price. So I would really say consider buying this game used if you do want to get it. But that's it for me. Thank you guys for being here. Until next time, take care.